What does it mean to be the gray man? Well, if you look at right now in Google, you'll probably end up with this, like I did. The Gray Man movie 2022. That's Ryan Gosling, Ana de Armas, and Chris Evans. I don't know this guy who is. But yeah, they're not exactly gray men anything. They're all super famous, attractive individuals. Even if they were not famous, they would be people that, are sticking out of the crowd in general, right? Well, that's what we'll talk about in this video. What is gray man? What is the confusion that some people have with the gray man concept? Why is it important maybe to incorporate certain aspects of the gray man philosophy? Why it is super important to incorporate other aspects of the gray man philosophy that a lot of people often overlook. That's going to be what we'll talk about today. So, as always, if you want to learn more about all of this stuff and a lot more, you have the channel with a ton of information. You have my books, Street Survival Skills, Surviving the Economic Collapse. I do talk quite a bit about these concepts in this book. In Street Survival Skills specifically, there is chapters dedicated to the way you go about your daily routine, the way you dress, even the shirt that is often used by some individuals of certain agencies, that they all dress the same. There's reasons for that. Anyway, let's get to this. So what is basically gray man? Well, not this, obviously not. Gray man means just disappearing in the crowd because you're just average. You're just normal. You're just like everyone else. This will depend on several factors. This will depend on where you are. You want to dress like everyone else. If you are in an Asian country or somewhere in the Middle East or somewhere in a Western country, it will depend on the typical way people dress in those places. That's kind of how you want to dress. It also involves certain physical traits and aspects. If you look like freaking Ana de Armas, even if you dress with a garbage bag, people will notice you because you're insanely attractive. I assume the same thing goes for women and these two fellows over here. So if you're too tall, if you're just too beautiful, if you're too short, if you're too fat or too skinny, there's going to be things that make you distinctive from others. So these are not things you can actually control. Maybe you can downplay a little bit. Maybe you can try to not be just, especially in terms of the way you dress, right? Maybe you don't go around with a pink pants and down like a drug dealer in Miami or whatever this thing is that he's wearing. So maybe dress a little bit of those earth tone colors that we often talk about. Not only that we talk about, usually you will see if you get into these conventions or meetings where you have a bunch of preppers and survivalists, usually you will see guys with maybe a little bit of a tactical pant, 511s. You will see quite a bit of jeans going around. You will see lots of black t-shirts. You will see lots of blue t-shirts. I have an entire drawer that's full of blue t-shirts. That's what I wear pretty much, unfortunately, every day. It's not that I wear the same shirt every day, the same t-shirt every day. I have literally an entire drawer full of them, so you just pick one and go that. Dark blue usually is like a very gray man thing to do. I'm not obsessing over it. In fact, I feel that depending on where you are, right, maybe this is not exactly the most gray man thing to do. Maybe it's a polo shirt, right? One of the Lacoste, little crocodile dude there, that is, or the polo those are maybe, depending on the location you are, maybe that's more typical. That's more gray man for that, okay? Instead of looking like you're trying hard to look average. So these are all things you need to keep in mind. Now, don't make the mistake of, I'm super great. No, you're not. You're wearing a prepper bracelet, basically, which is, it's like you having a little Taylor Swift band. Oh, you're a fan of Tay-Tay? Yeah, you are. Well done, buddy. Well, this is the same thing. Oh, you're a prepper? You have your whistle there and your compass in case you got lost in the parking lot? Or you have to start a fire with your 550 paracord that is gutted so as to make your little bracelet? Wait. Just being an asshole. But I met a number of people that... But the thing is, honest, do you really need a tactical bracelet? I get it. A whistle, super important to have with you at all times, I assume, when you need it. Or is it the compass? Yes, compass and map, essential. Really? When was the last time you got lost wherever you are? I mean, you also have your cell phone. Hell, I wear a compass in my watch all the time because this is usually not the one I have. If you've been following my channel, I usually have a Casio Pro Trek that is super shiny and not at all tactical looking. It looks like very bright and shiny titanium. And yes, it is solar. It has a compass. It has a bunch of useful tools, things it can do. This is a little bit more. This is a little bit more telling. A classic G-Shock. This is the kind of thing that cops will wear. The kind of thing that military guys will wear. The kind of things that the prepper survivalist that is a little bit more into the vintage G-Shock. Like my case, like I like the vintage. So these are things, and I see it all the time. I see a guy with a G-Shock that is kind of like this. He's a cop. He's somewhat in the community of preparedness and survival in one way or another, right? Unless it's a freaking rapper with a bright yellow or bright white G-Shock, he's probably into all of this stuff, right? So these are the things that are not gray man at all. And the same goes for the brain. I don't know when was the last time you needed a compass, honestly. Oh, but if you're sure, if you find yourself in inhospitable terrain and large extensions of wild land, how is that really what you do daily? Is that what you do? Is that what you did last year? When was a time that you could not just look around or maybe even see the sun and say, yeah, if I go in that direction, I'm hitting the road where I came from, basically. It is not that complicated. If you have a minimal amount of understanding about land navigation with, the things that most of us understand of where we happen to be in, you don't often find yourself in the need of bringing out your compass. I cannot think the last time I needed a compass to find my way back to where I wanted to go. My point is, there's nothing wrong with this. It is, though, something that is quite telling about what you're really all about. You're a prepper. If you have this, you're a prepper, right? So you have a big old sign that says prepper. And if you're dressed like a damn elf, you're also bushcrafty kind of. And the bushcrafter guy will try to avoid black. They usually do. They try to avoid camo, even though they're dressed in camo at the end of the day, because they don't want to be military, but they still look like a damn tree or mushroom with their man bun and the 100% pure wool sweater that they got from Amazon, and it's all gonna be shades of brown and green, basically, and gray. Okay, and you want to cook the chicken you bought in the store and set up the photo so as to upload that to Instagram and look super wildernessly and whatnot. Dude, I'm not even trying. Do whatever you want to buy your bowl or carve it yourself. I hope that's what you did. And you have these are Instagram photographs, and that some people enjoy doing this stuff, and it's great. And I would agree, this looks like a fantastic time. Instead of sitting your ass in front of the TV, go do this. Even if you're staging it for an Instagram photograph. Now, the way you dress is going to be super telling of who you are. If you go like this around, either you're an elf or you're a bushcrafter guy, right? And the same goes a little bit for like this. And I will say, this is something that I literally have a chapter on in my book about the way you dress, right? When I talk about EDC and the way you dress, this is one of the, and it's not an invention of mine. This is the CIA, the Central Intelligence Agency, and the CIA guys dress like this. They all wear these square freaking patterns because it works, because it's urban camouflage. It conceals anything you have, your gun in your waist. It conceals that a little bit better. It does trick the eye. This is camouflage without actually looking like camouflage. The thing is, it's been so many cases. There's been so many guys that are working for the government in one fashion or another. And some guys that were actual spies that were caught and arrested, and they were, photographed and made public, and all of them had their fucking squared patterned shirt on them. They were all dressing the same. Why? Because obviously that's the way in which they were taught to dress by the agency that they work for. The stuff that I write about in my books is the same stuff that anyone that is advising people on how to disappear in the crowd. It got to the point where anyone that knows what they're looking for, it's going to look for this. So, I don't know. Maybe use it, maybe not. Maybe the patterns. Maybe just a normal shirt. Again, it really depends on the location. Maybe it's a polo shirt. Maybe it's about the way you carry yourself, right? There's things that you will not be able to control. If it is obvious that you're working out all day long and you have tight clothing that happen to resemble what you would get told to wear by your employer, gosh, yeah. Maybe use a little bit more imagination. Maybe don't have the fucking same haircut every single one of you. You know this is the gray man. This is the real gray man. This is what I got from putting in Google average man. Balding guy that, yeah, with an Uber t-shirt, with an Uber shirt, you know. That's who you want to look like. That you want to look like an Uber driver, right? You want to be the real gray man. Get an Uber. Look at that guy. Wear exactly what he's wearing. That's gonna be your most creative way of being the gray man. This one is wearing a little bit of a nice sweater thing going on here, and a little bit of an earth tone color. Could be a little bit bushcrafty. The dude over here. But it's going to be these. These are the gray men. These are the real gray men. Not this guy, not this guy, right? These are the things that really make you disappear in the crowd. And here, if you've had the patience to bear with me up until this point, is where I'll give you the golden nugget, which is, it's not so much this, it's about this. How much of a gray man are you in your private life? I'm fucked. I'm screwed. I have 2 YouTube channels combining almost 400 or getting closer to half a million subscribers. It is gonna be difficult. It's not gonna be easy to have much of a gray man life when you're on YouTube every single day for years and people know your face. Not famous or anything, but I have been recognized before when out and about, which is exactly what you don't want to have. But it is also the case that this is what I've been doing for many years. And it came to a point where I decided, and we actually had a conversation with my wife, like, you know, if I'm going to do this, I need to have credibility, because if you're someone that is anonymous, that you don't publish your books with your name, and you have like, a dude or a whatever, and you're hiding who you are, and you're not showing your face, then your credibility is the same. You have no credibility because it's easy for you to not compromise, to not, it is so easy for you to just disappear if you screw up. And you don't build up a reputation, and people don't know you, and people don't trust you because they don't know you, and that will make a big difference. You are either someone or you're nothing, and if you're someone in this community or wherever, you need to be recognized. You need to be a known, trusted face. That will involve, well, a massive issue with privacy. I try to keep it super private. That's why this is all you get to see. From my home, from my neighborhood, from where I live, from my family, all of that I keep as private as possible. And that's something you need to do yourself. So, important piece of advice. Loose lips sink ships. The 90% of people that got kidnapped at the peak of kidnapping in Argentina, it was because someone spoke. Because someone said, because someone told someone else, even people they trusted, oh, I just sold my car, I sold my business, I sold my home, I'm looking to move elsewhere, I now have the money, I'm nervous because I have the money in my house, I'm nervous because I have the money in the bank. Whatever it is, critical, important information, it may even be picked up from walking in the streets, and someone behind you listened to that conversation, and they paid attention. And they follow you back to your car, and they got your license plate, and they now know who you are, and they look you up. All of these things happen. Usually it's going to be someone in their work environment, family, someone close to you that knows critical information. Talking about the things you bought recently, talking about the holidays that you're going for, talking about when you're not going to be home, talking. You want to control your fucking tongue, because this is probably the most dangerous thing. And this is another aspect of gray man. As you see, our gray man guy here has no mouth. You should not have a mouth here. Now, I'm not saying don't live your life. If you like participating in certain activities, if you enjoy doing these things, that's all great, man. Be part of enjoy life. But try, for crying out loud, try to control a little bit of this exposure. Maybe don't post every single private aspect of your life in Instagram. Maybe be a little bit more private about many things, especially things that you don't want others to know, especially things that could work against you. People knowing that you're going to be on holidays. People that know that you're not home right now. These are all things that you want to learn to control. That is also an important aspect of the gray man philosophy, maybe even more important than dressing one way or another. All right. Guys, that's going to be all for now. Subscribe to the channel if you enjoy the information. A lot of you folks have not subscribed. You now have the opportunity there. The button somewhere is going to be hugely appreciated if you click subscribe. See you on the next one. Take care.